The ability to defy gravity and float above the ground has always been a fairy tale, yet the myth that surrounds this incredible act is as old as Father Time himself. Across history, there have been a few individuals that have demonstrated this extraordinary ability. But how is such an act achieved? Do these sorcerers channel the dark arts? Or is it all just an illusion? Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell to keep updated with our incredible videos. Transfection, more commonly known as levitation, is the mysterious act of a person or object rising above the ground and floating in the air by means of magic or meditation. In ancient scripts, some believe that this act is performed by channeling a supernatural or spiritual force by communicating with the energy of the planet. One of the earliest accounts of the act of levitation taking place is found within the ancient texts of Buddhism. It is said that some 1,300 years ago, a Buddhist monk named Rishu was gifted the ability of levitation after successfully healing a Japanese emperor named Momu. Witness accounts in the ancient texts claim to have seen Rishu swooping down through the air from atop the 684-meter high peaks of Mount Horaji, as though he was soaring through the skies like a celestial being. Other ancient religious texts also depict this incredible act within their dusty pages. In Christianity, Saint Francis of Assisi, Jesus Christ, and Saint Teresa of Avila have all been depicted as demonstrating this incredible gift. In Sanskrit, the act of levitation is known as lagaman, which translates to lightness. As in Hinduism, it's believed that through the act of meditation, Hindu mystics and gurus can channel God's power once they reach enlightenment. In recent times, television personalities, illusionists, and street magicians use levitation as a spectacle to mesmerize their audience. But unlike any ancient myths, these incredible performances are nothing more than an illusion. In 2006, on an episode of his show Mind Freak, magician Criss Angel blew the minds of spectators as they watched him float through midair from one building to another. But for Criss Angel to perform this fantastic illusion, a lot of preparation was required by the production team behind the stunt. No, Criss Angel didn't perform a miracle, but was in fact hung from a wire that was barely visible to the human eye. It was this wire which held the illusionist up by a crane that was actually hidden behind the buildings in which he floated across, and it was due to this very fine wiring that it created the illusion of levitation. But this isn't the first time the use of wiring has come in handy for the illusionist, as it was also on Mind Freak where Criss Angel used a sound operator's boom microphone to hang a planted spectator from a wire, in order to appear that Angel was levitating a member of the audience. In 2012, Illusionist Dynamo shocked the world when on his television series Magician Impossible, the magician traveled to Rio de Janeiro in Brazil to visit one of the 7 wonders of the world, the statue of Christ the Redeemer. Standing amongst a crowd of tourists, the magician then rose into the air and replicated the wonder's pose, as if to suggest that he was the second coming of Christ. Though most assume that, much like Criss Angel, Dynamo was attached to wires and was pulled into the air by a crane, the logistics of this operation within the sanctuary of one of the most important monuments in the world makes this a doubtful possibility, as even for a television production crew, there are too many high-risk factors to be considered to be granted any permission from local officials. Our incredible team of investigators believe that this illusion was in fact performed with the magician being lifted into the air from below. What allows this illusion to appear successful is the manipulation of the camera shots and an elevation device. The camera only captures Dynamo's feet for a split second, but if you pay close attention to his shoes, they are suspiciously thick. The reason for this is so that there is enough room for his shoe to attach to a device which is slotted into the side of the sole of the shoe that allows for the magician's elevation. Above Dynamo's waistline is a strange bulge, and just under his neck are several creases that one would naturally assume are simply shirt creases. But this is in fact the harness which supports the weight of the magician when he is in mid-air. The lifting device itself is hidden to viewers at home, as the camera ensures that the crowd of people surrounding Dynamo camouflage it. The most logical solution for this to have been achieved is that a member of the crowd was in fact a plant who masked the lifting device under their clothes, with their weight balancing out the magician's when he rose. Dynamo would position himself next to the plant, slot the lifting mechanism into his shoe, and the device would be powered on, raising the magician into the air, giving the illusion of levitation. This illusion is remarkably designed and relies on an entire production team to ensure that it's delivered with perfection, for even the slightest problems could cause Dynamo's illusion to topple over with a domino effect. There are several different ways for a magician to perform the illusion of levitation. Magicians Penn and Teller are famously known to perform the method called Asra levitation, which dates back to the turn of the 20th century when Belgian magician Serveus Leroy first performed this stunt on his wife Asra, who was nicknamed the Floating Princess. This stunt is performed by having the magician's assistant or a plant lay down on a clothed table. The magician then appears to raise the assistant above the table and float them into midair. But much like Criss Angel's building stunt, this illusion is performed by attaching thin wires to the assistant to lift them up. Street magician David Blaine has been widely known to make use of this next method of levitation, which is known as Balducci Levitation, named after magician Ed Balducci, who first described the illusion in the early 1970s. The trick itself is performed with the magician facing away from the spectator as they levitate for a small moment several inches off the ground. The illusion is achieved due to the magician standing on the front of one of his feet, while he raises the back of both, as this blocks the spectator's view of how the trick works. The magician is simply supporting one foot with the other and masking the technique by facing away from his audience. The magician relies heavily upon where the spectator's focus will be, but for what seems like a defiance of gravity, it is a masterful psychological manipulation delivered subtly. Another act of levitation, which is done with relative ease but delivers incredible results, is known as king levitation. There are several variations for this method, such as the magician using a metal seat strapped to inside his clothing, but for this examination, the version we will explore typically sees the magician standing either to the side of the spectator or facing away, then they levitate above the ground for several seconds. How this is achieved is that the trouser leg of the performer's pants are designed to break open to allow for the leg to come out. The magician's shoe, which is fastened to his other, will have also been cut so that the performer can remove their foot undetected. Once the magician takes their leg out, they will place their freed leg onto a step in front of them and lift their other leg into the air as though they were levitating. Simply, the magician is only lifting one leg, but from behind, it appears to his audience that he is floating. This is the perfect example of why the acts themselves are not what are incredible about the act of levitation, but the brilliance and creativity of those that design these illusions is what is. The levitation of Princess Karnak was famously designed by American magician Harry Keller, who would demonstrate this remarkable illusion on his assistant, who would be brought onto the stage on a couch as though she were asleep. Keller would raise her into the air, passing a hoop back and forth along her body to show that this trick was not delivered by wires. The mystery behind this illusion, though, was that underneath the assistant's dress was a metal bar which would be connected through the couch, then to a machine at the side of the stage, which was masked by the stage curtain. The machine would then be controlled as it would then raise and lower the assistant. Infamous for his fantastical illusions, American magician David Copperfield has often performed some of the most incredible illusions throughout the 21st century. It comes as no surprise that Copperfield's name would crop up in this examination. Copperfield's been performing his miraculous flying illusion stunt since 1992, and within the performance, he appears to fly on stage for several minutes. But unlike the other magicians we've looked at, what makes Copperfield so different is that he doesn't only float in the air when he levitates, Copperfield will also perform incredible acrobatics, such as backflipping and spinning hoops. After this spectacle, Copperfield will then descend into a glass box, which is then covered by a lid, and he'll continue to float inside. How this incredible stunt is delivered was described by its designer John Gohan, who said that the complex nature of the stunt is actually achieved by a large amount of wires which are controlled by a complex computer rigging system placed above the stage. Though the illusionist is the one who receives all the credit from their audience, it's evident that what it takes to deliver these incredible stunts is a whole team of brilliantly gifted designers and technicians. Thanks for joining us on this incredible journey. Make sure to hit that like button and notification bell, share, and subscribe to our channel. If you have any incredible stories you would like our team to investigate, be sure to let us know in the comments section below. Until next time, remember, just because you've seen it with your own eyes, it doesn't mean it's real.